What is good, YouTube? This is your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside View Podcast, and we are back today. And we are talking NBA. It's the second round of the playoffs. Pretty much majority of the contenders are down in the series. They're down 2-1, 2-0, or 2-1. Just last night we had OKC versus Denver. OKC lost in a nail-biting game in overtime. Very surprising to see that. And then you have Cleveland, who was dealing with a lot of injuries. They're down 2-1 against the Indiana Pacers. And then I think the most shocking series of all is the series Boston versus New York, the Knicks versus the Celtics. The Celtics are down 0-2 in the series. I didn't see that happening. We're gonna get to that a little bit later, and then we have an unfortunate news with Stephen Curry going down in the series. That series is pretty much a wash unless the Warriors are able to get one more win and Curry is able to come back in Game 6. Because I heard some news that at the earliest he'll be able to potentially come back in Game 6, which is going to be still difficult because he's not going to have his legs under him. His conditioning is going to be right. So even still, that's a problem right there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, let's start what happened last night. Let's start with the game that, in terms of how the game ended, was very shocking to me. Thunder versus Nuggets. Okay, so Brian, any thoughts on this game particularly? I mean, it was insane what happened at the end.
Um, my thoughts are you just can't get rid of the Nuggets. You can't count them out. They just when they need to show up and get a big time win, they just do it. I don't know, even with the firing of Mike Malone, I guess he wasn't all that pivotal to their success because as you can see, they're still playing good basketball. And it's really just first let me get into the first game of the series where OKC lost. And this is one of the problems with OKC. It's just flat out experience. It's just experience. As we saw when it came down to the crunch, they was up. OKC was up, 11 seconds left, and they elect to foul. Yes, they were up three, but why are we fouling with 11 seconds left on the clock? It just didn't make sense to me at the time, and that's coaching, and that is also experience. And then the second game, they came and blew the brakes off them. Like they looked like clearly the better team. This is what a lot of people thought the series would go like. Then they go to Denver and then they lose in overtime. And it's just like, well, and the thing with OKC is they have so much talent, but I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. Like, they just can't. Like, Jalen Williams, he gave you 30 last night. You got to win. You got to win. It's one of your second, your top, one of your top three guys give you 30. You got to win. SGA, you got to show up. You can't get all your points at the free throw line, man. You got to put the ball in the basket. And like I don't know, like y'all just letting dudes, unsung heroes, Aaron Gordon hitting another clutch three. You just can't do it. You just can't do it, man. It's just the Nuggets played some solid defense last night as well. It's just like, man, shoot, Jokic almost made that three at the end of the game, almost sent them boys home. I was like, oh, I thought that was going in. I said, oh Lord, they got lucky. And then SGA had zero stats in the overtime period. Only thing he had that was translated to the stat sheet was minutes, and that's
Mm.
just unacceptable. If you the MVP, so they got to OKC got to figure something out because they got all the talent in the world. They got players. This should be a 2-1 in their favor, not the other way around. So they got to figure it out. They got to do some soul searching, man. I know they think Aura ain't gonna win this series. We need some buckets and play some defense. Because at this point, y'all on the verge of getting upset. Y'all gonna have to come out next game and stand on business because you go down 3-1. Oh, it's done. 60 plus wins for no reason.
Yeah, no, you make great points. Let's just let's just look at the stat sheet. You
Yeah,
know what
let's
I
let's let's
mean?
take a look. Let's
Let's
take a
take
gander.
let's take a look. So yeah, if you look at just the Thunder, Jalen Williams by far had his best game of any
Exactly.
playoff series that I've seen him play. 32 points, 11 for 21 shooting. I was thinking, if this is the Jalen Williams we're going to get for the rest of the playoffs, nobody's beating the Thunder. But here's the problem: when you go down and you look at SGA, 22 shot attempts, only 7 field goals made, 18 points. He had 13 rebounds, but and 7 assists, but 18 points ain't gonna cut it on
Christian
31%
Brown had that
shooting.
boy. He had
And
that boy in
hell,
the yeah.
and I was watching all the Shea shot attempts, and Denver, to their credit, they did a good job of collapsing the middle of the court where SGA likes to do all his damage because he's a mid-range guy. But at the same time, SGA, he settled a lot for that step back three at the top of the key, and it just was not falling. In the fourth quarter and in overtime, he kept relying on that step back three, and it just wasn't working for him. And I just felt like there were certain moments in the game where they could have tried to exploit the switching that the Nuggets were doing, because there were times where Jamal Murray was guarding SGA, right? They were switching on the pick and roll, and they just didn't do that a whole lot. And also, they weren't moving the ball. I think overtime, it was just heavy isolation with Shea Gilgeous when Jalen Williams was having it going. Why not go back to Jalen Williams? He was dominating that game. But SGA just had to be the hero. He just had to be the hero, right? And it just wasn't falling for him. And I felt like the inexperience comes with, how do we execute when the game is on the line? I think that's where the inexperience comes to that point that you made, because all these analysts, NBA analysts that I see on television, even these NBA YouTubers that would bring up the inexperience, they don't mention, okay, where does the inexperience show? And I think this playoff series showed, when the game was on the line, okay, now experience matters, because the Denver Nuggets have been here before for many, many years. The continuity with Jamal Murray, with Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, they understand where they need to be. They understand how to generate shots. They understand, okay, who gets the ball in this moment, in this spot on the court. While with the Thunder, it seems like they're still trying to figure that out. Guys are still developing as players. So it's going to be hard for them to really figure out a cohesive and efficient way of generating good offense when it matters most. And that's a huge problem when you're facing a team like the Denver Nuggets that have won a championship, being one of the most clutch teams we've ever seen in the NBA. So if OKC is going to win this series, they're going to have to take it from the Denver Nuggets, like literally take it. And they don't want to be in a dogfight at the end of the game with the Denver Nuggets, because as we've seen time and time again, the Denver Nuggets are one of the most clutch teams in NBA history. And they showed it with Jamal Murray. They showed it with huge shots from Aaron Gordon, uh, great passes from Nikola Jokic. Like let's look at these stats again, because Nikola Jokic didn't have the best game in the world. I mean, Nikola Jokic, he's actually hasn't been that great in the playoffs. He's had
Well,
some really good games.
game one, didn't he have like 40 and
Yeah,
40
yeah,
and 20
yeah,
something?
yeah. But in terms of consistency that
Oh
we
yeah.
expect from Nikola Jokic, he hasn't been all that great. He's been decent, obviously, but in terms of his level of play, like 8 for 25 shooting, that's just not normal for Nikola Jokic. He's usually a lot better. 0 for 10 from three. He has the 16 rebounds, 6 assists, 8 turnovers. So he wasn't good. He wasn't all that good, but it didn't matter because you had 21 from Michael Porter, you had 22 from Aaron Gordon, and you had 27 from Jamal Murray. And then you have guys like Peyton Watson playing good defense. You have and protecting the rim. You have Russell Westbrook, who's also hitting some timely shots as well. It's crazy that the Denver Nuggets, they don't have much of a bench, but they still figure out a way to generate enough points, play good enough defense to stay in the game long enough to just make it difficult for the OKC Thunder. And now OKC is down 2-1. I ain't gonna lie, I'm rooting for OKC to win, but I do love the fact that OKC their backs are against the wall. So
Mm,
now we really get to see, all right, uh, how are they really built?
exactly.
I love that aspect because everybody picked OKC to pretty much. I'm not gonna say
Walk to the
everybody, but
finals.
majority of people pick OKC to walk to the finals, and for them to finally get some sort of
Punched in the mouth.
resistance.
Yeah.
They look vincible now. They don't look invincible. They look vincible. I love it because now we get to see what are they really made of. Are they who we thought they were, or are they just this inexperienced team that a lot of these old heads and a lot of these people had pointed out to during the season?
You know what this reminds me of?
What to remind you of?
Remember them years in the Warriors, like in 2015, 2016, and how everyone was like, oh, yeah, Warriors going to they're just going to walk to the finals. And they ran into the Spurs in the second round, and they was in
Mm-hmm.
trouble until Kawhi got hurt.
Yeah.
It's what reminds me of. It's like you got to go through them fires in order to stake your claim as a real contender in this league. And even then, once they got past the Spurs, I think Damian Lillard and them was giving them some bump. Or
So
was that a different year?
So I remember correctly. I remember in I think 2015 they had a little bit of trouble with Memphis, but
Yes.
they ultimately beat them in 6, I think it was. And then came the Rockets. I think they got them out of there in like 5. Next year, that was the year. Remember, Steph went out with that injury. I think he came back in the middle of the Blazer series. They won in like either 5 or 6. That Thunder series down 3-1. That was the series where we're like, whoa, like Warriors, what's going on? Past champions, what's going on? Um, but what I will say with this Thunder team is, boy, oh boy, they have to figure out a way to generate offense in the clutch because they cannot continue to just go isolation heavy with Shea Gilgeous.
Exactly.
That you have to drive and kick. You have to generate some type of offense to just keep the defense honest because that's just not going to work. Denver is just going to key in on Shea, collapse in mid range, force him to just rely on that step back three, and it's just not going to hit for him. He's not been the most efficient in these playoffs. His shooting splits haven't been all that great. He's still averaging close to 30, but the shooting splits right there, we seen the last game and the previous games, it's just not there. The only, I would say, in terms of the only game in this series where he shot the ball well was in a 40-point blowout. So yeah, man, this is exciting. This is really exciting to see. This playoffs have been amazing to watch. Teams that we thought were just going to walk their way to either the finals or the conference finals are getting tested. This is what it's all about. This is one of the best playoffs I've seen in a minute, and
Oh
I
yeah.
am enjoying every second that I don't care what anybody says. Oh, it's too physical, man. Get out of here. This is
Who?
fantastic to
Why are
see.
we complaining about physicalness in the playoffs when that's what everybody's been clamoring for these past few years? These defeat you can't make NBA fans happy because they just always gonna find something to complain about. These playoffs have been electric from the first round up until now. Like these playoffs have been great. This is the most basketball I've watched in I don't know how long. And
Every
I'm
game.
enjoying. I'm looking for the games. I'm like, well, what channel these games is on?
Yeah,
I'm
man.
looking for the games. These games have been great, man. I don't care what nobody say. And this is
Yeah.
coming from an NBA hater most of the year. But these playoffs right here, hey, I can't even say nothing. It's been cinema.
NBA playoffs better, the 2025 NBA playoffs better than the 2025 NFL playoffs.
Absolutely. I'm merching it right here. This year's NBA playoffs have been better than the NFL playoffs. I don't care what nobody says.
Mm. You heard it first, ladies. The NFL guy right here. Hey, that's how good it's been. It's been must watch every single night. When I think that a team is completely down and out, I'm just like, you know what? Let me keep watching. Let me see if something crazy transpires. And then I see Indiana all of a sudden come back from a huge deficit. I see the Knicks come back from a huge deficit. This has been great to see, man. This has been great. But I want to transition. Speaking of Indiana, let's go to the Cavs versus Pacers series. Yes, Pacers are up 2-1. Yes, Pacers have been playing fantastic, but we have to admit that part of the reason is because of the injuries of the Cavaliers. I mean, for crying out loud, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and the other guy,
DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter. Those guys were out, major key pieces to the Cavs team, and they finally came back for Game 3 and they dominated. Uh,
Yep.
Salute to the Cavs. They did a really good job of making sure that the Indiana Pacers would not come back in that game. So the Cavs, whenever the Pacers were, they were trying to fight back, they were trying to claw their way back into the game. They got it close to like 11 points. The Cavs said, "Watch this. Here's a three right here. Here's a block shot right here. Here's a turnover right here." And they just did a really great job of preventing the Indiana Pacers to shoot their way back into the game, which, they like to rely a lot on the 3-point shot. Uh, Let me just share my screen real quick to just show how good the Pacers were defending. The Cavaliers were defending the Pacers. So if you look, 3-point
Halliburton had a
attempts,
horrible game.
9 for 30 from the 3-point line. So the Cavs did a really good job of making sure that the Indiana Pacers weren't getting a whole lot of 3-point shot attempts and were making a whole lot of the threes. Tyrese Halliburton, 2 for 8 from the field, only 4 points.
Yeah.
I was watching those games. He could not. Tyrese Halliburton had a hard time of attacking switches. They were doing a good job of making sure that he doesn't get by certain dudes. He wasn't getting that step back three off of anybody. They really did a good job. Andrew Nembhard, he was pretty much contained well. You had Aaron Naismith. See, these are dudes that were killing the Cavs in previous games. When you take away Aaron Naismith, when you take away Nembhard, and then obviously Tyrese Halliburton, there's not really much they could go to in terms of an offensive standpoint. Yeah, Miles Turner had, he's 4 for 7 from the field, had 15 points, and then Pascal Siakam had 18, but that's not going to kill you. What's going to kill you is Tyrese Halliburton, Aaron Naismith threes, and Andrew Nembhard, who's the perennial playoff riser. If you can contain those three guys, then you have a hell of a chance to winning. And the Cavs, they did a really, really good job of making sure those guys were just not going off. Max Strus,
Yeah.
he's not a Spoelstra merchant. He's actually a good player. 8 for 12 from the field, 7 assists, 20 points. I thought Max Strus, that was the best game I've seen from Max Strus since he left Miami. It's crazy. Evan Mobley protected the paint tremendously. 6 for 13 from the field, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 steals.
You know
That's
what?
defensive player of the year.
Listen. One thing I noticed about this game is that the Cavs, they just out hustled them. Like they got on the glass. They had 56 boards compared to the Pacers 37. You get out rebounded by nearly 20. It's gonna be hard to win every night. Hard to win, especially in the playoffs at home. You just came out flat like that. It just seemed like the Pacers felt like they was playing with house money, which they kind of were. But you can't let a team like the Cavs get that groove back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just played you. They just outplayed you. They just played you off the floor. And y'all tried to make it close with a little magnet ball, but at the end of it was just too much to overcome. Donovan Mitchell, man, he's been performing great these playoffs. I mean,
Oh
this
my
dude is a
God.
playoff riser, like some of
Underrated
the best
playoff
we've seen,
riser.
man. Yeah, this man
Underrated.
always shows up in the playoffs. And he had 43 last night. They got good contribution from pretty much everyone in the starting lineup. Darius Garland didn't shoot particularly well, but he's probably dealing with the toe stuff. He only had 25 minutes, blah blah blah. The bench, they could have got more production out of the bench. Your leading scorer was DeAndre Hunter, 8 points. He is coming off injury too, but we got to get these other guys a little
Mm-hmm.
more involved. But everybody played well. Jared Allen, he was playing well. Mobley played well. Like they just the Pacers just wasn't ready tonight. I don't really know what to say about it besides they just couldn't hit many shots. felt like the Cavs were being a little more physical with them, and that might have threw off their game a bit. So
Yeah.
I think I got them winning the next game too.
No, you're shoot. I listen. I still have the Cavs winning the series. By the
Oh yeah,
way,
absolutely.
I didn't. I don't think I announced this, but I have the Cavs. I have OKC winning their series. I know they're down, but I still have them winning their series. I want to show
Yeah.
you something. Donovan Mitchell. Look at this: 41 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, albeit in 3 games. But 41 points a game. I mean, 33 in the first one, 48. I thought this was Donovan. If they would have won that game 2, I would have thought, oh, this is Donovan Mitchell's best performance by far. 48 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, 1 block. He nearly carried that team to a win if they just would have executed late down in the game, but obviously they lost that one. They gave that away. But 43 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 14 for 29 shooting, 5 for 13 from the 3-point line. I mean, my goodness, Donovan Mitchell, 10 for 14 from the free throw line. Dude, he's doing everything. He is doing it all, man. Salute to Donovan Mitchell. He is underappreciated. We hear all these, oh, Donovan Mitchell versus Devin Booker talks. Though that shit is dead. That shit is dead in 2025. Donovan Mitchell is clearly the best of those two, and you
Mm.
can make a legitimate argument that he could be better than Ant. He's better than Ant right now. You can make a legitimate argument that Donovan Mitchell is the best shooting guard in the NBA at this moment.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I
I
say you
will
can
say
make an
he's
argument. I say you can make an
yeah
argument.
yeah you could. He's been playing better than Anthony's playoffs, so yeah, I could definitely see where you're coming from in that department.
And think about this. Think about this because when you watch, we'll get to Minnesota a little bit, but when you watch Anthony Edwards and you watch Donovan Mitchell these playoffs, Anthony Edwards, as good as he's been, his finishing has been kind of off. I'm like, I don't understand. Why are you missing a lot of these layups? And then when I look at Donovan Mitchell's finishing these playoffs has been outstanding. Like that previous game 3, he was making so many acrobatic layups. I'm just like, how the hell did he make that? While with Ant, a lot of the layup attempts he's missing are routine layups that he's supposed to hit. So man, you can make a legitimate argument. Donovan Mitchell is right now the best shooting guard in this league. I'm not going to make that argument, but if somebody says, "Hey, I think Donovan Mitchell is better than Ant," I'm not going to fight back on it because look what he's doing in these playoffs. Look what he sacrificed this season for his team to be the number 1 seed. It's just unbelievable how much Donovan Mitchell has developed over time. We a lot of people in the past we think that, oh, Donovan Mitchell, you can't win a championship with Donovan Mitchell as your number 1 option. Well, hey, shoot, the way he's playing right now, maybe we might take that back. Maybe we need to take that back because he is putting on historical performances with that Cavs uniform. And even when he was with Utah, his rookie, we could go all the way back to his rookie season against the Thunder. He was putting on a show against a team with Paul George, with Carmelo, with Russell Westbrook. I'm just saying, man, we got to put respect on Donovan Mitchell's
Oh
name,
yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Underappreciated, dude. Underappreciated. All he does is show up in the playoffs. It's not his fault that a lot of times he's just playing against better teams. This time he has the dudes, and we'll see if he can come back and win this series. They're still down 2-1, but that performance in Game 3, very very impressive. And I will say my one concern for this Cavs team, Darius Garland. Darius Garland, because you could tell that that toe is still a no-go. It's still not all the way healed because he was falling down. Uh he looked like he was like there was points in the game where he was jogging down the court and you could tell that something was bothering him, definitely his toe. I'm concerned for Darius Garland because if they can't get Darius Garland to generate any sort of offense, if I'm the Pacers, I'm going right at Darius Garland. I'm saying, hey, Darius Garland, beat us. It's up to you, not Donovan Mitchell. You. I want to see if you can do it. And right now, I'm not all that confident. I remember in the regular season, I said, I don't know if the Cavs can win it all with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland backcourt. I got to see it. If I'm Pacers, game 4, we have to figure out a way to attack Darius Garland and force him to beat us. We'll see. Game 4 is going to be exciting, man. It's going to be really exciting. Yeah. It's going to be really exciting. All right, so I gotta get to this. I need to show you something real quick.
Okay.
I need to show you something, man. Oh man. Man. Fair enough. So in the Eastern Conference, I understand your Celtics pick, but I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I just think the Knicks, they have the pieces to match up against the Boston Celtics and make it very, very difficult for them. They have the wing that you can put up against a Tatum and against a Jaylen Brown. That's what you need against the Boston Celtics, because against the Mavericks, they didn't have the wing defenders to really disrupt what's going on with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown too much. I think this Knicks team, all facets. Yeah, their bench isn't what it once was, but against the Boston Celtics, that doesn't really have much of a bench. I mean, they have about 7 guys. All you need is around 7 dudes. And I look at this Knicks team with Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, with Mikal Bridges, with obviously Jalen Brunson. He's amazing as it is. Mitchell Robinson. You have that guard coming off the bench for them. They got all these different dudes, man. I'm just like, they fit perfectly under Tibbs' system, and they match up well with the Boston Celtics, because you got to be gritty. You got to have some dogs up on your team in order to match up. That's why Miami was able to, in the past couple of years, they were able to like really match up because they have a defensive identity, tough-minded. They got dudes that can defend and knock down shots. That's what the Knicks have, and I think they have better talent than what Miami had. And I expect them to be the favorites in. All right, I see. Okay, that's where I'm a little off, but you get the point. You get the point, man. Hey, that guy right there, whoo, he's making some great points. I tell you, he was making some great points. But wow, I'm so phony. I'm so phony. Yo. The Celtics versus Knicks series. I'll be damned. At the beginning of the season, everything that transpired, I thought was going to transpire at the beginning of the season. But as time went on, the Knicks were struggling. They were losing to the Celtics every single regular season game. I went on the side of, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. And then the playoffs roll around, and then now the Knicks are up 2-0. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on right now? Oh, my God. I got to say this. You know what? I'll let you go. I'll let you go. Tatum, please. Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown, please.
I will preface this by saying, do not start victory lapping just yet. Because what I've seen and what the stats say, the Celtics have lost these 2 games more than the Knicks have won them. And let me explain. I believe it was game 2. The Knicks have played, I believe, 90-something, 91, 92 games this season. I think the last game was the 90th rated offense for the entirety of the season. So what that tells me is they are not necessarily, the Knicks aren't playing that great. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Knicks are not playing that great. Yes, I do say they're playing better than the Celtics down the stretch. But let me tell you, you don't go down 20 points in 2 consecutive games and be considered playing good basketball. That's just not how that works. Good teams don't go down 20 consecutive games. The Celtics have just been abysmal Like they missing open shots. Like Tatum airballed or wide open three. Like it's just bad. The players are not stepping up. If you go up 20, you have to go. You have to finish them off. Pause. Like you gotta end it. Like that's why I never understood the whole Steph Curry narrative that he's only great when his team is up double digits. Duh. You know what? A double digit lead ain't much in this league nowadays. Shoot, you better keep your foot on the gas. And the Celtics, they just haven't. They just start settling for threes. And like I don't understand. Like some of the shots I see them take, I'm like, why? And I think I saw last game it was transition. Derek White pulling up in transition three. Why? Why? Yeah. Like why? What are we doing here? And then you just give the Knicks enough energy, momentum to come back into these games, and you're not really doing it. You're not offering any resistance. And Jason Tatum, brother, yo, did you not learn anything from the Olympics? You rode all that pine and didn't get no knowledge. How were you still this bad? Steve Kerr, he knew something. He knew he was yeah, he a mouse in the house. He ain't ready for it. And this is a daggone shame too, because Jason Tatum, you supposed to be a top 5 player undisputed. But you not. I ain't gonna get too crazy on this, Joe. I ain't gonna get too crazy. But he's been playing bad. What is going on? You change your game up to tailor around your 3-point shot. That's not falling. You try to attack the basket. That ain't working. What are you doing out there? And it's just ridiculous, man. You getting Mikal Bridges locking you up. It's just like, oh my goodness. These dudes like, and it's crazy. Like these is open shots they missing. Open shots. And I don't. It's just ridiculous, man. I don't know if they just thought they was just a man or whatever. They was gonna waltz to another finals until they meet the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know what they thought, but they need to get their life together because this is a shocking performance. You blew two 20-point games in a row. That is execution. I'm sorry, people want to blame Joe Mazzulla, but if your team is up 20 points, the players got to execute. The coach can only do so much. Obviously, the game plan is working. You up 20 points. The players got to execute. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have not been executing. You ain't been getting the contributions you needed from Jrue Holiday. And Porzingis, he's dealing with some illness. I don't know what he got going on. People have been saying it's a certain disease.
Yeah.
But I ain't going to go that far. I don't know what that man do in his free time. But the dudes that need to step up and play are not playing. Jason Tatum, where are you at? I'm gonna have to go back to my 2022 vibe and call you Jason Tatum. Because this is getting out of hand. I thought this year was like, you know what? He's going to change the narrative. He's going to perform consistently out. Nope. And it just further proves Colin Cowherd's little soliloquy he went on. When you close your eyes and you think of Jason Tatum, you see nothing.
Damn.
This is a disgrace, man. I'm sorry. If I was a Celtics fan, I'd be so mad. Like, oh my goodness. Now, with that being said, salute to Jalen Brunson. Because in the clutch time, that boy is didn't he win clutch player of the year?
He did.
He won it for good reason too. Because every time his number is called, he's out there making huge shots. And Mikal Bridges, he stepped up tremendously down the stretch in the last game too. OG Anunoby hitting crazy shots, and it's like, yeah. And the crazy thing is, Cat not even getting his game off like that. Like Cat has just been out there a lot of times just running cardio, and I'm like, Cat on the floor, I don't be seeing him. Yeah. But the Celtics, y'all letting them off the hook. Now you down 2-0. Now you got to go to the other Garden, Madison Square Garden, and try to control the madness.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, y'all did this to yourself. You put yourself in this predicament. The players got to execute. If you don't want to play, you can't protect home court, and you're supposed to be the number one contenders. What does that say about the players?
Make a lot of great points, man. I want to show some stats real quick.
Please do.
First,
we need the full context of this collapse that's happening.
First, Jason Tatum. The first 2 games, Jason Tatum, 18 points, 15 rebounds. That's a lot of rebounds. But look at the shooting splits. I mean, 7 for 23,
28% from the
2,
field, bro. Like, what are we
5 for
talking about?
19 from the field, 4 for 15 from 3, 1 for 5 from 3. I mean, it's not even, this is 5 turnovers one game, 3 turnovers the next. Jason Tatum has been atrocious offensively. And not just Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown as well. Jaylen Brown, 21 and a half, but the shooting splits 7 for 20, 8 for 23, 35% from the field on both games. 1 for 10 from 3, 2 for 7 for 3. These dudes, both of them, 6 turnovers in game 2. The dynamic duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum has just not panned out how we thought they were going to pan out. And I also want to say this because I've been hearing a lot of, oh, Jason Tatum, he's in best player of the world talk. He's top 5. You know,
Top 5 what?
There's certain players in a generation that are really, really good players. But they'll never be the best player in the world or close to the best player in the world. You know, we had Carmelo Anthony in one generation. We had
Steve
Isaiah
Nash.
Thomas, Steve Nash in one generation. We had I'm trying to think who else. But those type of players where they're really good players, top 10 players in the NBA in their decade, in their generation. But we understood that they'll never be the best player in the world. They'll never be even close to the best player in the world. And what we're seeing so far in these playoffs, even last year, is that Jason Tatum, he'll be a top 5 player. He'll be in the top 10. But to think that he'll ever be the best player in the world, I don't see it. Because his shot selection is atrocious. And let me show you some stats as well. You know, I already showed you one stat, but let me show you the shot attempts from Jason Tatum. So Jason Tatum, I would show you the clips, but you know, I don't want to get copyrighted. Yeah. 5 for 19 from the field. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? But regardless, Jason Tatum, a lot of his shots from game 2 were routine shots. And these are normal shots that we see him make on a regular basis. He just couldn't hit them for whatever reason. It felt like the Monstars took Jason Tatum's scoring ability. And now he just doesn't have any of the attributes that he had that made him one of the best players in the NBA. Down the stretch in the fourth quarter, in overtime, was atrocious. You were able to generate that shot at the end. Remember, it was a driving layup, easy layup, fast break. He was able to get past Mitchell Robinson. They scored easily. Okay, second go round, Joe Mazzulla said they were trying to do the same thing, which is egregious because if the team saw it the first time, when you think the team would know what to do the second time around? Okay. But anywho, here comes it again. Jason Tatum, albeit the spacing wasn't the greatest, but you still had time to reset and get a good shot off. And he just, I don't know. He panicked. And when he tried to pass the ball, accidental basketball, like Kobe Bryant used to say, turnover. Jason Tatum, for whatever reason, his feels for the game is just not on the level of Nikola Jokic, of a Giannis Antetokounmpo. I even go Shai Gilgeous. I know Shai Gilgeous has been struggling, but at least he's still putting up some points. He's still getting close to 30. Now, the last game was bad, but for the most part, he's still putting up points. It's not efficient, but he's putting up points. Jason Tatum, on the other hand, he's inefficient and he's not putting up points. That's the problem. He's not getting to the free throw line enough, and he's settling for too many long twos, 3-pointers. It's not good, man. It's not good. And
It's not.
then looking
It's
at,
a shame, honestly.
and I know, like, bro, you cannot tell me it's just Kristaps Porzingis, because last year they didn't have Kristaps Porzingis and they went all the way to the finals. You telling me this year, all of a sudden, no Kristaps Porzingis for most of the game, and they can't figure out a way to generate offense? Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't get me wrong. Kristaps Porzingis he's major for that team's offense, but you were able to get by without Kristaps Porzingis, and now you can't do it? I call BS on that, man. I really call BS on that. Derek White has to play better as well. He shot 6 for 17 from the field. 17 shot attempts for Derek White is atrocious. I don't
Hey,
care what
man.
anybody says. Peyton Pritchard as well. Peyton Pritchard was 3 for 9. That's the 6th man of the year. Peyton Pritchard. Please. But, oh yeah, and Al Horford. It's about damn time a team takes advantage of this old man. He's been getting away with staying on the floor for how many years? And this old fart is old as hell, can barely move his feet. For whatever reason, teams can't exploit him. And finally, the Knicks are figuring out a way to exploit him. Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter was cooking that man. In overtime was cooking that man. Mikal Bridges was doing nothing offensively until the fourth quarter, when, salute to Tibbs. You know, I've had all my criticism of Tibbs. But in the fourth quarter, he took Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson out of the game. And Mikal Bridges called his number, called some plays for him, and Mikal Bridges went crazy. He was looking like Jason Tatum, the good version of Jason Tatum in that fourth quarter. And he was getting busy. I think he had like 14 points in the fourth quarter. He had a crazy number. Karl-Anthony Towns, he was 9 for 16 from the field. He had 17 rebounds. 17 rebounds? Karl-Anthony Towns? And Josh Hart was 9 for 15 from the field. So even though Jalen Brunson wasn't getting it going, even though Mikal Bridges wasn't getting it going until in the fourth quarter, even though OG Anunoby wasn't getting it going that much, they still were providing something in the game, defensively, rebounding. When they needed a basket the most, they hit them. And that's why the Knicks are up 2-0, because they're executing when it matters most. Their supporting cast are doing something that involves winning. It's not just, I'm going to try and score. Like, okay, if my shot is not going, I'm going to play good defense. I'm going to rebound the ball. I'm going to get some steals. This is what is going to transpire. And I have to say this, game 3, game 3. I'm going to be live streaming that game. I think it's at 3:30 today. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be live streaming that game, so check that out. I want to see how Boston responds. If they can't hit their shots early in the game, palms get sweaty. It's going to be a very, very bad situation for Boston, because that garden, Madison Square Garden, they're going to be crazy. They're going to be loud. It's going to be rocking up in Madison Square Garden. So if Boston can't hit their 3-point shots, good luck. And that's my final point. Their philosophy of chucking up a bunch of threes. You know the saying, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And when they can't generate enough 3-pointers, the other team has a shot. Yeah. And that's why the Knicks are up 2-0 in the series, because Boston keeps relying on that 3-point shot, and they have no counter if the 3-point shot isn't following. Do you have any other thoughts, Brian, you want to say about this series?
I will say I still do think the Celtics win this series. It's going to be a long shot. But I'll tell you, if they lose, obviously, if they lose this game, the series over. They lose this game, today's series is over. But I do think something will, even if Tatum doesn't even perform well, I still think the other guys you'll probably get a good Derek White game, you'll get a Jaylen Brown game, and then it'll be 2-2 before you know it. So and they're going back to TD guard. That's what I think will happen. But listen, I will not be mad if the Celtics lose at all. I might put some on the grill.
Oh my God, I'm definitely gonna put something on the grill. Do you think that the absence of Kristaps Porzingis is going to significantly alter what the Celtics want to do? Because it seems like without Kristaps Porzingis, that rim protection, that ability to spread out the court that they like to do, that 5-out offense that gives Tatum, that gives Brown so the ability to read and react so well. Without that, it's just very difficult for the Celtics, especially Jason Tatum, to be that playmaker, to be that decision maker that was so well in the previous playoffs. Do you think that will continue to hurt Boston, or do you feel like even without Kristaps, they're good enough to handle their business in Madison Square Garden and get the Knicks off the court?
I still think even without Kristaps, listen, you're a championship team. You just got to figure it out. Like it's just that simple. You just got to figure it out. I do think it's going to hinder what they can do on an offensive end. But at the end of the day, listen, if you cut from that cloth, if you got that pedigree that people like to talk about, Joe Mazzulla, you got to figure it out. That's just point blank. There ain't no excuses in this. Y'all the defending champs. Y'all have more talent out of 4 players than most teams have with 5. So you have to figure something out. I know Al Horford's been a liability this series, so playing him isn't going to be super ideal in Al Horford's absence. I mean, Porzingis' absence, but you got to do what you got to do. If Tatum made some shots, maybe you wouldn't be having to need to rely on one of your stars playing good. You would just be up 2-0. But hey, this the position you put yourself in. Figure it out. I ain't got no sympathy for these dudes. Only thing I can tell them is, hey, win or else.
You know why it's so baffling to see Tatum struggle is the amount of shooting that is on the court for him. The amount of shot creators that are on the court aside with him. If you put Shea, if you put Jokic, if you put Luka in this offense, are you kidding me? These teams, these players will be unstoppable. So for Tatum to look this bad with that complementary of talent is insane to me. And for people to put him in convos with those guys, I just I just laugh. I just really laugh because Tatum has the best supporting cast that you will want for a star player in 2025. And he's struggling because even with that supporting cast. So I just laugh. I just laugh. I remember when the Celtics won and Luka lost in the finals and Tatum beat Luka. People say, "Oh, Tatum's better than Luka." Like, shut up, shut up. Or when just the previous round. I know I'm deviating a little bit from the topic, but when the Timberwolves beat the Lakers and all now I'm hearing, oh, and it's better than Luka. I'm just like, all right, man, like let's pump the brakes. Ant-Man is a top 10 player, but before he even beat the Lakers, not a lot of people were going on and say, oh yeah, Ant-Man is in the top 10. Like, yeah, there's probably a few people that said that, but I didn't hear a whole lot of people even putting Ant in their top 10. So now all of a sudden he surpassed Luka. This is where the whole thing about the playoffs can be a bit hard to assess in certain fronts because I think you need to have like a certain amount of playoff appearances before I just automatically say, oh yeah, this guy definitely surpassed this guy, even though just last season Ant-Man wasn't even in the top 10 for a lot of people, or they were trying to push him in the top 10 and then he got his ass whacked out of there by the Mavericks and Luka Doncic, and people like, oh yeah, Ant-Man, nah, he ain't in the top 10. Yeah, nah, he got a ways to go. Now he's in the top 10. Now he's better than Luka. It's like, all right, bro.
You
Whatever.
know how people get with the recency bias,
I'm like, all right, bro.
especially on social media.
Exactly, man. Like media, NBA YouTubers. Oh, he plays both ways. That doesn't mean he's better than Luka Doncic. Yes, he plays both ways. Doesn't mean he's better. But anywho, that's a different topic. I want to get to the last series real quick since we're talking about Ant and the Timberwolves. We had a little scare in game 2. Anthony Edwards went down with that injury. He
Yeah,
had that ankle, but he came back in the game. Hey, the beauty of being young. He's only 23 years old, so he's able to fight through. You have that adrenaline. You're gonna be able to fight through that pain, and he was able to fight through the pain. Came back. Let me see the stats real quick. But yeah, man. What was it? Thursday. Yep. Box score. Game was just washed. That was a
yeah.
blowout. Nothing really to celebrate at all. No Stephen Curry. This is probably the least exciting series of any of the second
Ever since
round.
that injury happened, yeah.
Yeah. So just looking at Anthony Edwards, he's 6 for 13 from the field, 20 points. Not terrible. Not terrible. 46% from the field, but not the dominating force that we've seen him in the past playoff games. But the others, Julius Randle, 10 for 17, Jaden McDaniels, 7 for 10. Um,
Is
you know,
Julius Randle rewriting the narrative?
absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. I think him being in this system, this drive and kick, pace and space system that Timberwolves implemented with Chris Finch, is really helping Julius Randle because he's getting a lot of wide open looks. The spacing is a lot better compared to the Knicks that didn't really have a whole lot of good shooting. I'm talking about before they were able to get, obviously, before the trade happened, they didn't have the necessary pieces to space the floor like they do now. But yeah, man, this system that they have has really made it easier for Julius Randle to score. He can drive to the paint a lot easier. He could utilize his post game a lot more, his strength, because he's getting a lot more one-on-ones compared to when he was with the Knicks. Because when he was with the Knicks, I felt like he wasn't able to get to the block a whole lot. It felt like they were pushing him a lot more behind the 3-point line, and he had to create for himself. While
yeah.
now he guys are just backing up and say, "Hey, I dare you to shoot," and either he'll shoot the three or he'll have enough space where he can drive to the basket and get an easy shot. So this offense has done wonders for him. When Rudy Gobert is off the court and you bring in Nas Reed, everybody on the court can shoot. So it's going to just the driving lanes are going to be just a lot wider for Julius Randle. And he's been tremendous in the playoffs, the Lakers series, game 2 against the Warriors. It's just unfortunate that we're not going to see Steph potentially until game 6, if there's a game 6, because
It might not be one at this
um,
point.
yeah. So any thoughts? Any thoughts on this series so far?
Yes, I do have thoughts.
Yeah.
Specifically on the Warriors side, let me tell you something. Jimmy Butler, I know you supposed to be the floor raiser guy. You're gonna have to turn into your heat days because only getting up 13 shots is not gonna cut it against this team. And you wasn't even shooting bad. You shot 6 for 13. Like you that's almost 50%. You got to get up more shots, man. You have to really take the initiative and take the game over in Steph's absence. You have to establish yourself as the number 2. And I know you left the Heat so you wouldn't have to backpack, but things happen. It's the NBA. Injuries happen. And now, unfortunately, Steph, but now it's time for you to step up. Draymond had 10 shot attempts. Why?
Mm.
In what world, what universe do you want Draymond Green shooting 6 3-pointers? Are you crazy? And Buddy Hield, 5 for 14, like that ain't good.
Nah.
It's just like bro, Jimmy Butler, he's just gonna have to say, man, screw it. I'm taking 20 plus shots because that's what the team is gonna need to get past to even make this series competitive again. Because and Edwards, he had a rather pedestrian game for his standards, 20 points, shot well from the field,
but
but
only
you're
20
letting
points.
everybody else kill you.
Yeah. Well,
So, like the kill Alexander Walker had 20 points off the bench.
Yeah.
Like you just can't allow this stuff to happen. Like at the end of the day, Jimmy Butler gonna have to, in order for them to have a chance, Jimmy Butler gonna have to go back to his Heat days and just put on that backpack
Do you
because that
think he
offense
can do
needs
it?
it.
Do you think he still has that in him? Because I don't think he does.
He might
I
not,
don't think he's the
but
scorer that he was back in Miami. Because I was listening to one podcast and they was mentioning how a lot of his shots are like role player shots where he's just standing in the corner, standing in the wing, somebody passes him the ball, he shoots the ball, he's coming off of a screen, he's cutting to the basket, getting an open layup, he's getting, somebody misses a shot, he gets a tip. You know what I mean? And that's 2 points. So he's not really scoring a whole lot on his own. It's really somebody is setting himself up. He's getting offensive rebounds, putting it back on the hoop.
listen,
I
at the
don't
end of the
know.
day, who you want taking more shots, Buddy Hield or Jimmy Butler?
Oh, obviously it's going to be Jimmy Butler. I just don't know if he has that ability that he once did against Boston a couple of years ago, where he was going for 40, for 35 almost every single night. He'll have one game where he could do that, but for the entirety of the series, I just don't see it. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it in him because we saw in the last playoffs when he was with Miami, they weren't able to do nothing in the playoffs. So you expect me to all of a sudden now, especially with that injury that he's dealt with, and he said he's still dealing with that injury against the Rockets. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. It's going to come down to the other guys, Brandon Podziemski, Buddy Hield, even Jonathan Kuminga, who's been atrocious. Those guys have to really step it up because I don't see Jimmy Butler doing much. I don't think he'll get you like maybe 25. He'll get you 27, maybe even 30. But that 35, that 40 that we saw against Boston, I don't see it. I just think he's not the player that he once was from an offensive standpoint. But we'll have to see. I think the other guys have to step up tremendously. And they have to play great defense. They have to. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot allow the
The
other
the
dudes
the
on the Timberwolves to get it going.
the Timberwolves, they shot 43% from three as a unit.
Can't
Can't
let
have
that
that
happen.
and
No,
expect to win.
can't have that happen. And Ant was relatively mediocre in the first half, but the other guys were getting it going. Even with Ant got injured, the Timberwolves were able to stay afloat because of the role players.
Yeah, they
So
got that depth.
they got that depth. So it's just without Steph, because Steph generates so much for that offense. He opens up so many guys on that offense. They have counters. So when Steph is trying to get the ball and they can't get the ball to Steph, they have counters that they can go to on that offense. And without him, it's just a nightmare.
This is just another um proof of the playoffs not being about your best players, but being about the worst players.
Yeah, really, really. Um, uh, yeah, it's just this series is as long as the Timberwolves handle their business, continue to execute like they've always done, the Warriors shouldn't win another game without Stephen Curry. It's just that simple for me. I just can't see
Yeah,
the Warriors winning unless the Timberwolves did with pull a game one where they just was flat from opening tip of the game. As long as they're locked in, I just can't see the Warriors winning this. They just don't have enough without Steph. It seems like Steve Kerr is scrambling, trying to figure out, oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring in Jonathan Kuminga that I barely played since Jimmy Butler was acquired on his team, and see if he can get us going. Quentin Post, other dudes, Pat Spencer, Pat Spencer, a guy that I didn't even heard of until he played game one. Kevin Knox, like, come on, man, what we
oh,
doing
he's
here?
still in the league. Good
Yeah, he's
grief.
still in the league. Tracy Jackson Davis. These are guys that we've never heard of. Yeah, he went 6 for 6, but it didn't amount to nothing really. Steve Kerr is trying all he can. He's going deep into his rotation, and it's
That is
just
not ideal for the playoffs.
it's just not. It's just not. um, I'm trying to think what else. So just to review, I want to make it known that I still have OKC winning their series. I still have the Cavs winning their series. I have the Timberwolves obviously winning their series, and then I have, unfortunately, the Celtics still winning their series. I don't think the Knicks will win. I know I showed that clip from like months ago where I was talking about why the Knicks are better than the Celtics. I still don't think the Knicks are better than the Celtics at this moment. But if they win Game 3, if the Knicks win Game 3,
Stick
I'm
a
gonna have
fork
to
in them.
I'm gonna have to change my opinion on the Celtics if they lose, if the Celtics lose Game 3. But for right now, I still have the Celtics. I just think at the end of the day, Jason Tatum, he's missing shots that he normally makes. These are routine shots, and he's making bad decisions that he normally doesn't make. It's not that the Knicks, yes, the Knicks are playing good defense, but I also think that the Celtics can counter some of the defensive looks that they're giving them. So we'll see Game 3. Hopefully, the Celtics continue to miss shots and Jason Tatum continues to look horrible. But I don't see that happening. I think Game 3 will be a game. Jason Tatum finally shuts up all the haters, shuts up all the naysayers. Derek White comes out of nowhere and gives you 25. Drew Holiday has that Drew Holiday type of game, and Jaylen Brown, he'll give you maybe 20 points. I don't see the Celtics going down 0-3. If that happens, that would be the most shocking turn of events I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts right now?
About the NBA the playoffs? No, not really. I think we
Okay.
covered. We touched pretty much everything.
Okay, well, we'll see how things transpired. Who will come back? I think the schedule game 7 is, if there is a game 7 for teams, I think next Saturday. Look at ESPN real quick. It would be, there is game 7s. Yeah, so if there's game 7, then May 17th, that would be Indiana, Cleveland, Minnesota, Golden State, Denver, Oklahoma City. Monday, May 19th would be the Celtics versus the Knicks. So, boy, we'll see. My bad. I meant Sunday. I'm tripping. Sunday.
Yeah,
It's actually
Sunday the
Sunday.
18th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually Sunday the 18th. But Monday is the Celtics versus Knicks. So we'll see. We'll see if we come back here and there's a game 7 or not. But until then, we'll see you guys. We'll end it here. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Court Happy Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.
Salute.
All right.